Look over there. Hold on to the camera.
Okay.
Did I take? What happened?
What's that?
Am I in your world? I'll give it up. I'm in Mount Morris. Get ready. Yeah, 2 weeks right
You may have been better than should have been
That wasn't me, Phil. What's on the agenda?
Yeah, so what? 525? That's what
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, this you said we're in first place. We were bringing up the rear. Oh,
Put their number in. But, and then they like, show you second time,
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your city council meeting. And we're going to stand for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance led by Mr. Massey.
Pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, we have the roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Jerome.
Here.
Ms. Hope.
Here.
Ms. Tillett.
Here.
Mr. Robson.
Here.
Mr. Tucker.
Here.
Mr. Crail.
Here.
Mr. Massey.
Here. Thank you. Okay, it's time for some public comments. You have 3 minutes to speak, and please, when you get up, please state your name and address, and for the record. And some of you, if you have any questions, they may not be, your answer may not be given up by the end of your speech. However, your question along with your answer will be placed on the city's website under frequently asked questions within 14 days. And I have 2 cards, and Mr. Herbst.
My name is Jeff Herbst, and I have a outdoor brewing on Highland Street. And all of you may not know me or have not been acquainted with me, but can I have a show of hands? How many of you have been here for 10 years? 20, 30, 40. I have been on that same corner. I've worked really hard to make a business there, and this upset me. I got a letter from the city because I have some flags, open flags, on my street in front of my business, because it's very difficult for people to see anything there. All the signs on the buildings, they have to be a certain size, they have to be on the building themselves. The speed limit's 30 miles an hour coming through there. Now, I've made some photographs and stuff.
Give
there.
to Ms. Grant, she'll hand it out. Thank you.
I don't know if there's enough for all of you to see. It's a copy of the letter. The first picture you come to is a picture of Highland Street, about 150 feet from the corner of my property, looking north on Highland Street. Now, you have to remember this. If you're driving in a car at 30 miles an hour, that's 150 feet from my building. Now, there's a caution light there, there's all kinds of traffic, okay? The next picture is now 150 feet on the north side of Highland Street, looking south at my building. And my invasive and obnoxious flags are well and flagging, or flying right now in those pictures, okay? They're very hard to see. So now, again, you're traveling 30 miles an hour, you've got 150 feet to see my business, see the building, read the signs, and get through the intersection. That's a lot to comprehend. Now, it's very difficult to have a small business in this town, and I've had to do a lot to keep this place open. The last picture are the same size flags that I have as open flags of the farmer's market on your website. Those flags that I have are only 22 square feet each, okay? My objection is that I should have gotten a letter, had to come here and fight about this when, according to this comments that are on the front page here, I'm allowed to have 2 flags on my property as long as they're each underneath 24 feet. But I get this letter stating that I'm not allowed to have that. Now, they also said that in the paragraph above, it says it's about the scenic beauty of our town. I have been here, I've met my wife here, I have raised children here. I have been on the CRA for almost 9 years. If you go down to the 2-story parking garage, you'll see my name is on that. All the parking lots in the city were put here during my time on the CRA. And I'm very well aware of what the beauty of this town is, and been concerned with it for years. And so, for me to try to make my small business that employs 14 people and puts a huge amount of revenue into our city coffers for the last 40 years, I think it's very sad that this would happen. And there's got to be something done. There's always been an issue with Highland Street. It's the redheaded stepchild of our town. I've worked on it. It took 9 years to get sidewalks put on there.
Go ahead and wrap up.
Pardon me?
Just wrap up if you could, please. Wrap up your comments if you could, please.
Okay. I don't think that I should be fined for having these flags flying in front of my building. There's also some other pictures here, these banners that are across, we've got a banner across Donnelly Street here, and they say, oh, there's nothing about driving in the city. I've got pictures here of I took today, I didn't get the copies of them, of the same size flags down at the boat marina. Here's 7 flags that they have on their fence, on their barbed wire fence and everything else. And last but least is the Lakeside Inn. 7 or 8 holding signs in one spot. And I didn't even take another picture of the ones on the other side. If you should not be doing some kind of selective enforcement on my behalf. I don't know, that's just the way I feel. And I hope that you do something about this.
Do you want to give those pictures to Ms. Johnson? You can make copies for the council. And we can put them on the website also with your comments. Thank you very much for your time. And Mr. Sharp?
Thank you so much. My name is Robert Sharp. I've lived in Mount Dora continuously since 1991. I owned a house here for 23 years. I've owned a business ever since I've been here, a small business. I own a business called Sharp Design. I'm a sign shop. A lot of the people in this room, several know me from doing work for me. Through the years, I've done work for many of the merchants in town. Done work for almost every aspect of the city: police department, fire department, parks and recreation, you name it. I've done work for a lot of individuals with campaigns and different things like that. Never made a bad reputation for myself that I know of, or had any major complaints. My concern and my comments are that started noticing a few months back, and I know it's a kind of a moot point now, but I'd like to see something happen in the future maybe. Beautiful new fleet of vehicles the city has purchased. I don't know how many, there must be a couple hundred. And imagine my surprise when I start seeing every one of them at a business in Eustis getting their signage done. I've been doing that my shop is off of Robie Avenue. I'm about a mile from the city barn where they keep the vehicles. They're running them, and I understand free enterprise and you want to get the best deal for the city. I understand that 100%. I never got a chance to bid. I was never offered a chance to bid on this project. There was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that went out of the city outside. I live here, my business is here, my children went to school here through Mount Dora High School. I pay my utilities in this building every month for my business and my residents. And I just think that the city ought to be a little aware that there's local businesses that are quite capable of doing the work for the city that are in the city. Why not look at who's in the city and reach out to them? You know, if I'm underbid, I understand that 100%. But give me a chance. Give me a chance to bid. To not get a chance is ridiculous. You know, I have to take my son to his bus every day past that shop, and for months there would be 20 or 30 vehicles sitting at that guy's shop getting Mount Dora city logos put on the sides of them, and I would just fume every day, if you can imagine that. So, you know, let's keep the money in town if it's all possible. That's what, you know, that's what small towns do, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, comments. We'll check that out. Thank you. All right, anybody else from the public wish to address the city council on the item that's not on our agenda tonight? Okay, seeing none, let's get to our next item, which is a presentation of a proclamation for one of our law enforcement officers.
Thank you, Council. John O'Grady, Public Safety Director. If I could have Officer Rice come in. So Officer Rice is shy, but I just want to show you, you know, so we told him that he was going to get this award. He went out and had this glamour shot made up. I don't know where this came from. You can take this back home with you. So Officer Andrew Rice has been with the police department since 2015. He's local, Central Florida, born and raised in Lake Merritt. He played football for the University of Central Florida and graduated with a degree in criminal justice. He married his high school sweetheart, and they're going to have their first child in June. Is that correct? Your life will change. Officer Rice has, we have noticed since he's been here, he's definitely community oriented. He is bigger than life personality. And he's all positive energy, and we're just so excited that we were able to land him a few years ago. But one of the good deeds of the many that he's done, actually, he saved a life in a critical situation. He responded just how he's trained. On Monday, December 25th, Christmas Day, around 2:56 in the afternoon, Officer Rice was dispatched to 441 in Morningside for an accident with injuries. Upon arrival, Officer Rice discovered a single vehicle accident that went off the road and hit a tree. The driver, Don Dyer, was in the driver's seat and was non-responsive. Officer Rice checked on Ms. Dyer and discovered that she was not breathing. With the assistance of several others, she was taken out of the car, and he deployed his AED device. After 2 rounds of CPR and the AED shock, Dyer appeared to start breathing on her own again. Dyer was airlifted to Orlando Regional Medical Center, where she's made a full recovery, and I believe Ms. Dyer is here. Can you come on up? And Ms. Dyer has returned home and is recovering nicely. Is there a couple words you'd like to say?
I'd like to tell Officer Rice thank you. You know my sons, both of them. You know Brian Dyer, and you know Jason Dyer that works for Austin, the cab company. But I just want to tell you thank you. And thank you for the Dyer because I coded again in the helicopter when they took me. So I coded twice on Christmas Day. And I'm still here for a reason.
Merry Christmas.
everybody knows we have body cameras, so we're actually able to catch a portion of this, that we just want to show council and the residents, one of our officers at work, as well as the work that the body camera does as well.
Ma'am. All right, do me a favor, come grab her head for me, supported by the neck. Okay, and then pull her out towards you. Can you grab underneath her? Grab that. Okay, ready? I put her on the ground.
Nobody knows.
Get an AED out of your car. Ma'am.
Peel the blue plastic liner off of the second white pad.
No one was hit. She
Do not touch patient. Analyzing heart rhythm. Please wait.
From the other side, she was heading north.
Do not touch patient. Analyzing heart rhythm. Please wait.
It must have just been.
She was heading north. I thought somebody
Do not touch preparing shock.
I did too.
Away from the
All right,
patient.
back up.
Shock will be delivered in 3, 2, 1. Shock delivered. It is now safe to touch the patient. When instructed, give patient 30 rapid compressions. Then give 2 breaths. Place heel of one hand on center of chest between nipples.
Do you have
Place heel of other hand directly on top of first hand.
So one of the, what I'd like to point out, and I want to thank council as well, several years ago, in our budget, the police budget, we asked for these AEDs and that it might save a life. The fire department came on board and said, yes, it will. So we have one of these for every car. Not only that, since this has happened, Ms. Hayes has directed several of us to check the city. It's at every city building. And we're doing training to let everybody know where it is. And our utilities, every one of them carry it in their vehicles. And we've had several incidents where we've deployed this, so thank you. And, yeah.
Proclamations were given by the mayor are very, actually from the city council on behalf of the city, are very important, and they're reserved for important events, important things that happen in the city. And I think this qualifies as one of those very important events for the city. And I'm going to read the proclamation, and it's going to repeat a lot of things that Chief O'Grady already said, but we're going to put them in the proclamation. And we have, again, Ms. Dyer up here with us also. And whereas the Mount Dora law enforcement officer Andrew Rice responded to the intersection of US Highway 441 and Morningside Drive on Monday, December 25th, 2017. And whereas Officer Rice, upon arrival, observed a 2002 red Kia passenger car with front driver's side damage. And whereas Officer Rice then noticed Juan M. Dwyer, the owner-operator of the vehicle, was unresponsive in the driver's seat and did not appear to be breathing. And whereas Officer Rice found Miss Dawn Dwyer to not have a pulse and immediately applied an AED, that's the automatic external defibrillator, to her, delivering a shock. And whereas Officer Rice commenced CPR procedures, which resulted in Miss Dwyer beginning to breathe on her own after approximately 1 to 2 rounds of CPR. And whereas heart experts at the Johns Hopkins and elsewhere have evidence that at least 522 lives can be saved annually in the United States and Canada by the widespread placement of automatic external defibrillators, the paddle-fitted electrical devices used to shock and revive people whose hearts are suddenly stopped beating. And whereas Officer Rice had the wherewithal to think clearly and act accordingly by utilizing the AED device, which resulted in saving Miss Dwyer's life. And whereas the Lake EMS and the Mount Dora Fire Department arrived on the scene and advised Miss Dwyer would be airlifted to the Orlando Regional Medical Center. And whereas this proclamation recognizes the courageous behavior of one of Mount Dora's own law enforcement officer and commends Officer Andrew Rice for a job well done. Now therefore I, Nick Jerome, Mayor of the City of Mount Dora, have the distinct honor of presenting this proclamation on behalf of the City of Mount Dora in recognition of appreciation to a heroic act of kindness for an emergency situation. The action exemplifies the steadfast dedication of Mount Dora law enforcement personnel and the commitment put forth by the City of Mount Dora to provide a safe, caring environment for the residents and visitors alike. Please join me in congratulating and expressing appreciation to Law Enforcement Officer Andrew Rice for a job well done.
Yes, get back to work.
Really nice, and I appreciate everybody and Mrs. Dwyer for taking the time to be here with us tonight also. And I know she's been through a lot, and but besides, she's recovering very nicely. Okay, I have a motion for approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so moved. Consent agenda, we have 2 items consisting of minutes. And I'm with the rule of the consent agenda. Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. So moved. Okay, we have some resolutions to go through tonight. Resolution number 2018-32 for BESH, proposal for the state revolving fund application for reclaim system main along Round Lake Road to Kelly Park Road in Orange County. And Ms. Cockcroft, could we have the title read, please?
Yes, sir. Resolution number 2018-32, a resolution of City of Mount Dora, Florida, authorizing a piggyback contract and scope of services for professional engineering services with Booth, Ernst, Tran, and Hyatt BESH to prepare an application to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund SRF loan program for the Reclaimed Water Interconnect with the City of Alaska, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for authority to the city manager for implementing administrative actions, providing for authority to the mayor to execute, providing for a savings provision, providing for scrivener's errors, conflicts, severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes?
Thank you, Mayor, council members.
Again, this is one of those items we've been talking about for several months now. Part of the interconnect with the city of Apopka, we're very fortunate to have an agreement with them, an interlocal agreement, as well as some resolutions that have been presented to you up to now, requesting that we consider this interconnect. As you're aware, in part of the memo, St. John's has also provided $550,000 in grant money. Obviously, there will be a matching set to the that will be established by the city, as well as some FDEP money. And at this point in time, we would just like to have your permission to go ahead and apply for the state revolving loan to possibly bridge the gap between the city monies that we might find available through the process of the next year's budget, as well as the grant money and as well as the current money that we mentioned in here that we have put aside in total for these type of projects. And then we would bring it back to you at that point in time. But I just feel it's important that you as the council, especially for the value of this project, approve us even going forward to ask for that loan.
Have a motion for approval of this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any comments from council? I'd like to make one, and this is really part of what we were all over at the Waukiva opening, and if you notice the tone of a lot of the speakers, especially mine, and that we talked about regionalization and commitment to the whole region, and so there's been work over the last few years with Apopka and reaching out to them and them reaching out to us so we can form some kind of a partnership. And this is probably one of the first ones that we're getting involved with Apopka and Orange County. So this is all part of the whole regional effort that we've been looking at. And on Saturday also, Mayor Joe Kilsheimer was not reelected, so I had an opportunity to meet, my first time meeting with Mr. Byron Nelson, the new mayor of Apopka. And so we had a little chat, and he assured me, and I assured him that we were going to continue with the partnership that's been established with Apopka, and maybe enhance it and make things even better in the future. So actually, I'm in favor of this resolution, Mr. Wilson.
I agree with everything you said. Remember, this is also a part of the interconnect that we're always been talking about for how many years, and the importance of that for everybody, especially the Northeast community. So it certainly is part of the beginning of that. I support it as well.
Thank you all. Any other comments? Anybody from the public wish to comment? Ms. Johns, can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Crail?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Robson?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Resolution number 2018-33, same company, Besh, proposal for the piggyback contract for the state revolving loan program for the wastewater treatment plant number 1 improvements. And Ms. Cockcroft, we have the title read, please.
Yes, sir. Resolution number 2018-33, a resolution of City of Mount Dora, Florida, authorizing a piggyback contract and scope of services for professional engineering services with Booth, Ernst, Brand, and Platt, Besh, to prepare an application to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, SRF loan program for wastewater plant number 1, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for authority to the city manager for implementing administrative actions, providing for authority to the mayor to execute, providing for a savings provision, providing for scrivener's errors, severability, conflict severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, council members. Again, this one, another one that we're requesting your permission to submit for a state revolving loan, or an SRF loan as we refer to it. We're estimating $4 million for the repair plant, wastewater treatment plant 1. Obviously, it could come in at less than that, but we'll put in the request for that dollar amount. The $39,900 will be part of our city operating funds that will pay for that service, as far as for the company to submit the grant. And then also there will probably be some engineering. We'll come back and request from you to do an engineering analysis that will also be part of operating, and then going forward, the loan, if approved and processed, would pay for the repair. And again, that would be part of your CIP process and would be presented to you again in the future. We talked about this one, I think, earlier last year in the budget process about the possibility of the repairs at this plant. And we're just moving forward. The SRF time period is May, So it's important that we bring these to you and have permission from you to submit. So you'll see some bundling of some other projects in the future, and this is just one of them at the next several meetings.
Thank you. Have a motion for approval of this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments from council members? Ms. Tillett?
I just have a real quick clarification. The money for this is coming out of the overall general fund or the wastewater impact?
Wastewater.
Waste.
The
It's
wastewater
coming out of
general fund, yeah, the
that.
wastewater operating fund, so
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying.
Any other comments from council? Anybody? Mr. Creel?
Well, we've talked before about taking care of our stuff, and this is an example of that. This is a resource. Wastewater plant, maybe not real sexy, but it's very important if something were to go wrong, and it needs for safety and the ecology and so on. That needs to be done. And I think the use of the state revolving loan fund with favorable interest rates are certainly the way to go on that.
And I will also just let the council know, we've also reached out to the Lake County Water Authority, we reached out to St. John's. We will reach out to other organizations who also may have available funds as we go through this process, as we did with the interconnect with the POPCA. And we will look to see if any of them have funds for any of these processes. It just reduces the state revolving loan at that point in time. But a lot of times you have to go through the engineering process of this first before any of them will jump on board and say, yes, we have funds for that.
Mr. Olson?
That plant would certainly seem sexy if it didn't work and we didn't have appropriate water. So that's the real sexy part of it in my view.
Okay. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, can we have the roll call vote, please?
Mr. Ralston?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Creel?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Resolution number 2018-35, approval of policies. Can we have the title read, please?
Yes, sir. Resolution number 2018-35, a resolution of City of Mount Dora, Florida, providing new and amended standard operating procedures, authorizing the city manager to execute said procedures, providing for annual update, providing for new procedures and amendments, and providing for implementing actions, discriminatory errors, conflicts, severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, council members. As you recall, in the beginning of this fiscal year, we talked about policies needing to be put in place. This is just an exhausting process, as you can imagine, so we will continue to bring them to you. Sometimes not in a semblance of order, it would seem like, but again, we're trying to present to you some of the ones that we believe you as a council would be interested in seeing prior to the budget. Obviously, during the budget time, we'll bring a lot of policies to you that affect the budget and the purchasing manual at that point in time. So some of the ones we bring to you between now and then are just the others we're trying to catch up. In this particular item, we brought to you in Exhibit 1 some policies back in September. We have since then modified them. I anticipate some of them could be modified again, but I felt like it was just fair to go ahead and bring them to you. You've seen them a couple times since November, so you see in attachment of the prior red lines, and then the exhibit is the clean item. Exhibit 2 are some of the newer ones we brought to you, I believe in January for the first time, and then again in February, March. Again, a lot of these are from the library, it's guidelines. At any point in time, we can change these and we can bring them back to you at the next meeting. I'd be glad to answer any questions, or the experts in the audience are here as far as from staff that can answer any of the other questions you might have.
Have motion for approval?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any comments from the council?
We've done it for a while. Time to say yes.
Andy, go ahead.
And tonight we're approving these specific ones because there's still some that we have not done yet.
That's correct. There's several out there, but that's just these for tonight.
During conversations with the staff yet, if any of the ones that we are approving tonight you still feel need to be modified, bring them to Ms. Hayes anytime, with some red lines on there, what you feel they need to be adjusted to, and then we can look at them and reapprove them down the road on that. Anybody from the public wish to address this resolution on our policies? Seeing none, Ms. Jones, can we have the roll call vote, please?
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Creel?
Yes.
Mr. Rolfson?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Ms. Hoag?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. We have a first reading of an ordinance tonight, number 2018-04. And again, we have a certain procedure for that. And so, Ms. Cockcroft, we have the title read, please.
Yes, sir. First reading of ordinance number 2018-04, an ordinance of the City of Mount Dora, Florida, approving a final development plan, final PUD master plan entitled Dora Landing, assigning the planned unit development PUD zoning classification to property located between Limit Avenue and Pine Avenue, providing for legislative findings, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for conflict severability, and setting an effective date.
Thank you. And Ms. Hayes.
Thank you, Mayor. This item has been presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission at the March 21st, 2018 meeting. It was approved. It was approved by DRC prior to that, the February 28, 2018 meeting. This is a project that is actually very exciting to see, and I would open the floor to Vince Centersfeld if you have any questions, since he is the expert in this area.
Okay, well, and right now we'll have is the applicant here tonight? If you care to make any comments now at this point?
No, so we'll wait.
Thank you. And at this time, we're asking for comments from the public on this ordinance. Ma'am, please come up, state your name and address, please, and 3 minutes applies.
I more or less have a question, not so much.
Right, it's okay, just state your name and address. Please.
Okay, I am Vivian Owens, and I own a property near the proposed site, and I simply have a question. I wonder what will the city do about taxes for the indigenous community there, which I will refer to as East Town. Because if those taxes go up, what happens to the homes that are already existing there?
Okay, once I will get into the council discussion portion, if that's okay. Thank you. Anybody else from the public wish to comment? It's time for the public hearing portion of the ordinance. Okay, seeing none, so with that, I'm going to ask then for any more comments from the applicant. If you want to make any comments, now would be the time to do it.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Kathy Hadaway with Pullis and Bennett, 2602 East Livingston Street in Orlando. We are very proud to be bringing this project before you this evening. We're available to answer any questions and look forward to your support tonight. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion for approval of this ordinance, please?
I so move.
Second.
Thank you. And time for council discussion now. And Mr. Olson?
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. As I recall, and Ms. Hayes can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was reviewed and unanimously approved by the Northeast CRA. They looked at it. It's in smack dab in the middle of the Northeast community. Now, I'm not sure if it was approved or not, but I know in speaking to them, they totally welcomed this project. It's a beautiful addition to that community. I understand, I'm sorry I've forgotten your last name, Vivian's comments, and I'm sure we'll address those by those that know more about that than I do at this time. But it's an excellent project. It will certainly add value to the community in the surrounding area. It's well designed. It's moderate income type of housing. It's also very beautiful housing, as you've seen in the plans that you have before you. It certainly dresses up Grandview. The Grandview community that's there should certainly value that, and I know the businesses do because I visited with them about that. So I think it's a wonderful project and wonderful addition to that Northeast community.
Any other comments from council? I'd like to make just one comment. This, last year I think it was sometime we approved the master plan for the Grandview Business District. And part of the RMA recommendations was that how we can tie in the Northeast, especially the business district on Grandview, in with the rest of the city. So we're all contiguous as far as our shopping, eateries, the different things, the businesses. And where this is going to be anchored on the north end of Grandview, it just makes common sense now that this is going to be a really big economic driver, I think, for that Grandview business district now, because it's going to bring that connectivity, because people there are going to come into town, so it's going to utilize it, that Grandview Street, Avenue and Street is the way it's supposed to, I think, was originally designed to be done. So it's a great project. And Ms. Hayes, did you have any comments on Ms. Vivian's concerns?
Well, I would say we would reach out to the county property appraiser's office and work with them to the process. Please keep in mind that there's several things that could change this year in the election process of a third tier reduction in taxing for some homes in the area based on where your appraisal value, assessed value might be. There's still a state law that says that the cap is 3%, so that's the most that we can, from a state perspective, county perspective, city perspective, that's the most that your assessed value can increase. So that being said, that's very different from all of your total millage rates and all of your total costs. But we would definitely be willing to work with the community. I know the Northeast Board would probably even be willing to hold some public hearings and talk about that. It takes some time once the homes come on, are built for everything to realign itself. So I would say we're probably 2 years out before we're even going to see that. So I think we have some time to look into that and work with the county and see what the effect might be.
Any other comments from the council? Seeing none, Ms. Johnson, we have roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ralston?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Crail?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Okay, city manager reports and items.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. So, first of all, let me start with this one piece. The litigation counsel, Sherry Supton, has indicated to me that settlement discussions are in the works in the Nemhauser lawsuit, and she has asked that I request an executive session on her behalf so that she can discuss the same with you. The following dates and times have been made available. We are trying to work on a date. Do we come to a date that everybody works well for everyone's calendar?
No, ma'am, it looks like April 9th or 10th would be best, and none of the times presented works for everyone. However, Ms. Sutton says she is available anytime on either of those days, April 9th or 10th.
So can each of you please look at your calendar and let me know, if so tonight, because obviously we'll need to post the 9th by Friday.
Let's take a minute and take a look.
Sure. I have to make some adjustments with the manager, but we can do that.
Yes.
So either date is fine with me.
The time that was proposed on Monday the 9th didn't work for me, but if it was earlier in the morning, I need to leave Mount Dora at about 11 o'clock to get to work that afternoon, but I could do it 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, something like that.
Mr. Tucker?
That would work better for me. 8 or 9 would be fine.
Yeah, 8 or 9 would be fine.
Either one day is fine.
I have a 7:30 prayer breakfast in Umatilla, so I can be here by probably 9:15, 9:30. That too late? Well, okay, I won't wait too long, I'll leave at 9 o'clock.
I will understand.
I was gonna request, as much as I'm all in favor of prayer, to have a dental appointment at 11, which means I need to leave here at 11:15. So I don't know how long this takes, but I would like to have sufficient time for us to hash everything out at one go. But I'm willing to slip my dental appointment to another date.
I can be here by 9 o'clock.
So let's set it for 9:15. 9:15, that way it gives everybody time. That gives us an hour and 40, hour and a half.
That's Monday the 9th.
Yeah.
Monday the 9th at 9:15. Does that work for you, Mr. Tucker?
Yes, ma'am, that'll work, I'll make it work.
Actually start at 9.
Mr. Crowell, you'll need to leave at 10:30, 10:45?
Yes, ma'am.
Would that be okay?
Yep, and City Hall here?
Yes. City Hall.
And is that considered a shade meeting?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Shade meeting.
So, if I could please have a motion for an executive session to be held on to be held, in Nemhauser versus the City of Mount Dora, case number 16 CV Alpha OC 30 PRL on April the 9th at 9:15, at City Hall.
I was gonna say, before we do that, we never discussed what the conflicts were on the 10th. Because personally, I have zero conflict on the 10th. I just didn't know if, that was one of the.
Well, see, if you go to the 10th, I have a dentist appointment. So.
Well, I
at 9 o'clock.
cancel mine. So I'm just saying,
I'd rather just stay. Unless somebody else is going to.
Does anybody else have a conflict on the 10th?
Yeah, I
You do? Okay, all day on the 10th? Okay, all right.
So we're gonna stay with that, so.
The 9th.
We have a motion for that change?
I made the motion, or I'll second, whatever.
Did someone? Who made it?
I made a motion.
Made a motion and.
I'll second.
Mr. Ross made a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that date is set. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Joe Grasakis, if Joe can come up. He's our new Utility and Plant Operations Director. Joe has about 30 years of environmental management experience. He comes to us from the city of Oviedo. He was a public works operations and utility manager when he was there. He has a degree in physics and a master's in HR and administration. His work history reveals a lengthy background in utility management, and he is a licensed water and wastewater treatment operator with the state of Florida, which is critical from the plant perspective, so we truly appreciate that. Joe's worked with large and small utilities over the years in the environmental consultant to directing regional utility services. He has been part of the permitting, financing, design, construction, operations, public facilities, and some of his highlights were construction of infrastructure projects up to about 15 million, budget administration up to 12 million, and his strategic planning. Joe's experience and background in the utility field should blend well with the city of Mount Dora, so we're excited to have him, and I'd like to give him just a moment to make a few comments if you have any questions of him.
Thank you. Started about a day and a half here and enjoying it. I love working with the public. I really enjoy, working with you council and the public and trying to make the best sustainable utility you can for the community. Like I said, I've done that for about 25, 30 years, and I see a lot of challenges here, but I look forward to working with you and building actually getting this city ready for growth. It looks like you're really going to produce it, and doing some maintenance at the plants, etc. Met with all the staff. You have great staff here. They all know what they're doing, and with a little bit of, I think the wastewater plant is probably our priority for, fixing it up a little bit, but we'll tend to love and care, and I think it will last another 30 years.
That's great.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm betting he understands the sexiness of water plants.
I bet he probably does.
Councilmember Creel.
So we have just a couple things to go over real quick. We have a merchant meeting we have attempted to schedule for May 8th from 5 to 6 p.m. So you'll see some information go out to each of you as well as the merchants in the very near future. May 8th, 5 to 6 p.m. Some of the things we're doing in the downtown, I just thought it wouldn't hurt to recap some of those things right now. Obviously, we're adding some handicap parking, some loading and unloading zone areas. And we're also doing some restriping, so just be aware of the changes going on downtown. Obviously, we've implemented the 4-hour parking to the point this week, beginning that, as well as the shuttle program. So we'll deal with the ups and downs of the new programs, in which we know we will have those. We have put out there the code rewrite. As you know, that was in progress. We put with the P&Z board. And had to put that on hold for a time period. Hopefully we'll be able to go back and begin that in May as soon as we finish with our current open case. So I hope that we can go forward at that point in time. We have a lot of requests for proposals out. Some of the ones include lobbyists, debris monitoring, debris removal, CCNA. So we are preparing for June 1, which is again, hurricane season, so it rolls around very quickly. But we also have some standard processes that we've talked about over the last few years, at least a year and a half I've been here, about putting out some of these RFPs. Some of the other ones that we'll be working on this year into next year will be some of the things in our health and HR services and benefits and so forth. We'll also get those proposals out there or bids out there to see what we might have respond or who we might have respond. We have a letter to the Congress and senators in reference to Dogwood Mountain. I'm sending that through our lobbyists. They were here on Friday. They took pictures of Dogwood Mountain. They were a part of our lobbyists in the sense of fighting for us to get some money. So we're very excited to have them involved, and they were just shocked. So they just had no idea. So it's good to have them on our side. We've obviously sent the letter to the post office, which you asked, and each of you reviewed that. We had some comments, we made those and sent that letter off and within the time frame required. I've had some requests and comments about noise ordinance. We'll look into that in the future in reference to trains, seaplanes, et cetera, something we'll need to bring back to you. Will be part of those codes that you'll need to address and that P&Z should address mutually. Ms. Jewell is working with GAI, working on the master plan and some stakeholder meetings, so you'll see some emails from her, so please take note of those and respond if you can, as quickly as you can. Entertainment ordinance, we're bringing that to you in May. And we'll have some work sessions and some discussions on those. We're still gathering data, so we anticipate having that to you very soon. Annexations, I actually had a meeting with one of the potential developers, and they brought in some draft, if you want to call that. They obviously took that with them, but some information in reference to annexations, and they'll work with Dr. Levy on those. So anticipate seeing those very soon. And then we have the rate studies going on. So the rate studies, if you recall, were for electrical services as well as water, sewer, and stormwater. So you'll see some resolutions come to you in the next several weeks in reference to approving the negotiated contracts with those selected contractors. So I just kind of want to update you on those. And basically, that's it. So then the last item that I have under City Manager's report is the respect to the council requesting that I bring back options on the city attorney. And I'm trying to just get to the page, so I apologize. So as I provided this standard memo to you in the past, I have updated it with the information on page 129 or page 2 of 3 of the document in reference to options going forward. As you recall, on April 10th last year, you by motion decided that within a year's time period, based on some information provided to you at that point in time, that we would extend our current contract with our city attorney. At this point in time, it was a motion, so not a resolution or ordinance, so you have the options of just continuing on and allowing it to continue, so to speak. You have an option to bring something back in the form of resolutions, which I've told you that in the memo. You have additional options of extending the time period and noting that I've attached the state of Florida certification letter from our attorney that states that she was, certified or qualified to step for the test. So congratulations for that. And so that's in here also. I've also selected in a couple of law firms. I reached out to 4, 2 that had qualified certified attorneys, and I've provided those to you. I will disclose I have worked with Fishback Dominic at the City of Winter Garden, so I am familiar with them, and I just want to disclose that. That's all. The 2 attorneys that attorney there is Ms. Upton, who you work with from time to time with Bell Roper. And that you may appoint a firm if you so choose based on, I've listed in here the purchasing policy, chapter 5.2, as well as state statute requirements. You may also go out for an RFP or RFQ and go through that process. I would just note that you're looking at 90 to 120 days if you do that. But each of these items have with them qualifying in the fact that you need to look at the city attorney contract. The city, and I will just quote section 3, it says the city attorney has been appointed by the city council as set forth in the city charter of the city of Mount Dora and may be terminated any time with or without cause by a vote of the city council at any meeting in which there is a quorum present. And I've attached the contract. At any time, any of these actions would require that you bring back to this council at another date a resolution and approve that resolution. Again, I believe with the same quorum. I believe it all kind of follows suit. And you would need to have that discussion again. I say all this with the information that I've provided to you. This is not a position that answers to the city manager or that is part of my preview. I'm just providing you the information as I could find it, as the facts as I could find at this point in time. And I believe that was the request made to me that I've now presented to you.
With on to that, would this council entertain the idea maybe of having a separate workshop, either in Saturday or some evening, just separately, just on this item by itself and thanking, or do you just want to continue? There's just some options, so we can discuss the options before any decisions are made and do it in a workshop fashion to be open to the public naturally. But we can just have that one item on the agenda only to talk about instead of doing it with the normal workshop that we have on the second Thursday of the month or the third Thursday of the month.
Is there some reason we can't just do it tonight?
It can get lengthy, and I just think we do it on a separate workshop, and we can have all your thoughts and everything with it, and it's up to you guys, and I'll do whatever the council wishes, but I just want to throw it out. If we do a separate workshop in the near future, and all we'd have to do, if you wanted to do that, and we just part of that is just, which we can do, just continue with what we're currently doing right now. It's just extending, just continue the motion, the first motion that was adopted. It'll just be continuing that until the council discusses and makes a decision, if any.
Can I ask a question? Uh-oh, they just left me. Give me a second here. Presently, our present attorneys we've had for how many years?
2.25.
2.25. So really, and I think the original discussion that got previous council into looking at the attorneys was feeling that there shouldn't be a long period of time before that's done. But 2.5 years is kind of short to me. It's about a 5-year time frame, I would think. And again, there's no magic number. So that's the first thought. The second one, without putting Ms. Hayes on the spot, Ms. Hayes is who works closely with our attorneys, even though it's one of probably 3 of the very important things we do as, well, 4. We hire the city attorney, we hire our city manager, we oversee policies and procedures, and we oversee budget. Okay, so it's one of 4 very important things, but I would be interested as to any comments or any concerns Ms. Hayes has at this point in time.
Yeah, I'd echo that, just asking if she has a recommendation among those suggestions that she has, and if she feels comfortable doing it.
In all fairness to Ms. Hayes on that request is, again, and you stated very clearly, it's our responsibility.
Right.
Okay, it's strictly our responsibility. Okay. I think we have some kind of a workshop. So again, my own personal, if we have a workshop, we can ask her those questions at that workshop also, instead of, so she's a little more prepared on those kind of things. So that was my only thought on that, and that we do it in a fashion that's a little bit more, because again, it's our decision and we can directly ask questions and she can have more information bring to the table with us, her on her side that night if we have some direct questions. But for her to give a recommendation on how we should proceed, that should be our decision.
I guess I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking her for a recommendation. I'm asking her if she has any concerns as she works with them, with the firm we're working with. So to me, that's not recommending or not recommending. No. Is there, or have there been, and she's been with us 1.5 years, have there been any, now we know we went through some issues, but, I think we worked through those. Ms. Cockcroft has done what we've asked, but we're in a time frame that's different than what we thought based on the information we got back when we made the motion. The information wasn't, rather than saying totally accurate, wasn't complete, let's put it that way. So that we took action based on some incomplete information as to what the actual timeframes were for the qualifications for certification and things like that. So you know, with everything on our plate, as long as everything is working forward, I guess I'd hate to see us get into something that might be a little ahead of time unless there's a need. And I guess right now you're saying that we're really not prepared to understand, is there any concerns for a need to look differently?
One of the problems that one of the concerns I have is that at a workshop, and I guess I don't have a problem with that. I enjoy workshops, as we all do, because we can vocalize and
We don't have enough.
express our opinion. Yeah. But we can't take any action at a workshop, and we may want to take some action, so that stretches it out again another time.
You, technically you could, and I'll defer to our attorney here, and when the council meets, and generally, whenever any elected body meets, you can do motions, but what I'm thinking, if we did a workshop where there might be some action taken, that would have to be advertised accordingly, correct?
Well, my advice would be to break and then have a real meeting if you were going to take action.
At the same time.
You would
Okay.
advertise the potential of real meeting.
Yeah, so it has to be
Well, I
advertised,
would
yes.
say break and then call a real meeting to order for to take action.
Okay, if no action was necessary, then we don't call the second meeting, or we call and then just adjourn it, because, yes, and then adjourn it, okay. That's an option.
And so that would be at the same day.
Yeah, same, yeah.
I'm prepared to talk about it now, but if it's soon, and not delayed any further, I think we've delayed this a long time.
No intention.
One way or the other. And so, I think my preference would be to talk about it now, but I don't have a problem with the workshop. I just want to bring this issue and resolve it and go forward. So I'll do either one.
No, I'd rather have it at a workshop. Which should be held in the next week or two.
Okay. Mr. Harmon, any comment? Mr. Massey, I'm sorry, excuse me.
No, I'll hold my comment for workshop.
Okay.
I can decide right now, but,
So can I.
but the preference seems to be for workshop discussion, and I don't oppose that.
Okay.
So the comments that I was prepared to make tonight, I'll wait until the workshop.
Okay. And we want any dates available for, again, we'll look at some dates for a workshop, and we can do one. I know we can't do one on the day that we're all going to be meeting on the 9th. That's because everybody's got to kind of leave real quickly. So
Except me.
I mean, you can stay around.
I can stick around now.
Stay there.
Meeting at 1. Wednesday afternoon,
The 11th,
11.
good for me, if we're later in the afternoon and have
Yeah.
away, lunch on that day.
Anytime, Wednesday afternoon,
Wednesday's good for me also.
Wednesday 11.
Wednesday the 11th.
Wednesday or work.
John? Oh. For you?
About the evening of Tuesday the 10th.
It's the northeast, it's a NECO board meeting, northeast board meeting, but I can.
Is that
skip
correct, this late leadership that day? I can only miss 2 and I missed 1 for the death of the family.
So you can't miss the Tuesday evening?
You won't be a leader
That's
anymore.
Wednesday, it's Wednesday.
So we can do Tuesday.
Tuesday evening?
Was that the 11th?
Yeah, other than NECO, northeast community, but,
10's good for me.
What time is that?
10's good. Or 10's good.
6. I don't need to do that.
It won't because somebody's dead.
So I was thinking evening.
So Mr. Crail's the utility.
And,
He's free the afternoon of the 10th.
So am I. I'm totally free.
Oh, the
You
evening,
mean
I'm sorry.
after
Well, after what time?
after 3 o'clock?
4
So
o'clock.
we do 4 o'clock?
You do 4?
I could.
Yeah.
Is everybody good? Or on the 10th?
4 o'clock
Sure.
on the 10th. Okay.
Okay, so let's get a motion for a workshop, and immediately followed by a regular meeting. And so we'll be a special meeting. And so we'll just be immediately following, we'll just, the time will be 4 o'clock on April the 10th.
I will move what you just said.
Great.
Second.
All, 4 o'clock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's put on the calendar. Ms. Hayes, anything else?
No, sir.
Just a question. Sure. If there is to be a regular special meeting, do we need to choose a time for that, or can it just be following?
We're wording it, this is gonna be immediately following the workshop.
You can list it as 4 o'clock, both of them at 4, and that way it's immediate. Is that correct, our city attorney?
All right.
Just a question. I just didn't know.
And there was a board appointment for Public Arts Commission. Who has that
Yes,
appointment?
that's mine, I believe, and it's Mr. James Brock Lesperance? Am I saying that right, Michelle? Lesperance?
He's here.
Oh, is it? Oh, yes, I found him. There he is. This gentleman is now our curator over at the Modernism Museum, and he's very interested in being involved with what's happening with our Public Arts Commission, so I am recommending him to our Public Arts Board.
I'll second, he seems overqualified.
Oh, he probably is. That's good.
Replacement or filling the blanks?
Replacement. The lady that was in there went to Eustis to work at Eustis. Oh, City of Eustis. Christine Rose? Okay.
Don't we give a letter of thanks to people that have been on just a, don't we do that? I mean, just for people who've long served on advisory
We should be doing
boards?
some of these things, yes.
Just a letter of, okay, that's why I was curious as to who.
Well, who
was left.
I write them out, yes, and not a problem. We'll take care of that. Thank you.
That goes to the board, goes to that board.
Right. And, okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Okay, that part's done. There's no other appointments? That's it? And Ms. Cockcroft, do you have a report to give?
No.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Tillett?
Oh, first?
Yes.
I don't have much, just to remind everybody that shuttle services, the city shuttle services begin this Thursday, and encourage your friends and neighbors to take advantage of this free service and park in the public lots. The public lot across the street from the First Baptist Church and the Methodist Church. There are 3 stops downtown. We'll take you almost wherever you want to go, and you can have as many trips as you like by your friendly city volunteers, and I think it's going to be a huge success. It has been in every other city that it's been implemented in, and hopefully this is just the very beginning of it, and it'll expand to more areas of the city. As Jeff said, the redheaded stepchild of the Highland Street corridor, and Grandview Business District as it becomes more thriving, and so come let us do the driving. That's all I have.
Okay, and Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor. 2 things. One is just to echo what I know every person at this dais believes to be true, and that's that to not only thank this city and Chief O'Grady for having the smarts to hire people like Officer Rice and the competence that displays makes us all proud. So thank you, Chief, and thanks, of course, to Officer Rice and everybody else that participated. The only other comment I have is I was one of, 4 or 5 council members that attended the ribbon cutting on the 429. It was a marvelous event. 800 runners for the 5. And plus,
We had the stoplight.
we had the stoplight runners. Is that your official name, the stoplight runners?
The stoplight, yes.
It sounded lecherous and looked worse, but they were really classy and stole the show. I don't think you won, but ribbons or anything. But
My neck held me up, or I would have won. She beat you by 1/10 of a second.
but it was a great event. In spite of that, it was a wonderful ribbon cutting. There were representatives from the governmental areas of the county, Apopka, every city in the area that had anything to do with that. And now, instead of driving 11 miles on 441 to get to the what that roundabout or whatever that's called. I'm now 3 minutes from 453, excuse me, and I'm a straight shot to Disney down 429. So it's a wonderful thing, and you all should take a drive. Just go out 46 until you see Round Lake Road, go another quarter of a mile, get on the highway, and it'll be a beautiful drive that combines not only the best quality traffic setting that you could ever expect, but environmentally protected as well. Beautiful rural setting. It may not be that way forever with the development but it is beautiful, and I invite all of you to do that. I was duly impressed, and our mayor did a great job. He was limited to a minute and a half, and I think he tripled that by 4 or 5 minutes. And nobody cared.
I didn't see any hooks, so I went.
None of us cared. He was bragging about Mount Dora, and that's all we cared about. So it was a great event, and well done, Mayor, and great to have all the council members there that participated. Thank you. Oh yes, thank you very much, Kathy. There's a NECRA cleanup. Anybody, Northeast Community Cleanup, a big cleanup. Get the plastic bags and help. It's an annual event. I don't have the time. 8 a.m. 8:45. Which day? Saturday. 8:45 at the Martin Luther King Center.
MLK.
So anybody that would like to participate and help pick up around there is certainly encouraged to do that. Thanks for that reminder. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Mr. Tucker?
Very little. I can say I took the new highway to work on Monday morning. It was very nice. And the fact that I didn't have to wind my way to get on the old connector at 6 o'clock in the morning was also very nice. I didn't feel like I was taking my life in my hands at 6 o'clock there. But yeah, that new extension is fantastic. And if I don't have a whole lot, but I have a question to Ms. Tillett real quick. You gave everything about the shuttle parking except for the times they were going to run the shuttles.
Well, pardon me. So they start at 9:30 in the morning, Thursday through Saturday, from 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. 6 o'clock, 6:30. 6:30 p.m. and then on Sundays from 1:30 to 6:30. There'll be 2 shuttles running, so you shouldn't have to wait longer than about 3 minutes for a shuttle.
I know, I just knew you were slightly incomplete because you didn't give the time. I'm going to give you a follow-up.
Well, I thank you very much.
My pleasure, and I hope everybody had a nice holiday weekend.
Mr. Creel?
I think I agree with all that's been said out past.
And Mr. Massey?
It was exciting to go to the ribbon cutting on Saturday to the opening of the 429 extension. It was absolutely marvelous, and it stirs your soul because the growth that we've talked about is coming, and that's certainly a major step. I wanted to remind everyone, I mentioned it last time we met, but Mount Dora Lawn Bowling Club will celebrate its 90th anniversary on Saturday, having been founded on 7 April 1928. We're having an open house that day. Please come if you're inclined to try the game. There'll be folks who will assist you, and we have another open house coming up the 21st of April, I believe it is, and free lessons. The banners are across the city entries. We appreciate being a part of Mount Dora in that regard. Thank you.
Ms. Oaks?
Okay, following up on that, this weekend is the oldest event that we have in the city of Mount Dora. It's the 65th annual sailing regatta on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll be seeing the sailboats out on the lake for those of us who have a view of the lake, or go down to the lake and watch them. Hopefully we'll have good weather. While you all were at the Wekiva opening, I was with the library staff doing the Easter egg hunt with all of the kiddies out there, and we had probably one of the best events, right, Miss Amy? Lots of little ones. They were so cute. We had so many eggs. And the Kiwanians that were there helping along with the library staff and a number of other people kept hoping they would keep picking them up so that when they left there wouldn't be a lot to be picked up. But it was a great event. We had a lot of activities for the kids, and they didn't leave with candy. They left with a book. that they got to choose if their parents let them. But they were all appropriate books at the table. It was just getting them to pick the ones that was the right age for them to read was the challenge. So anyway, the Easter egg hunt was great. Think of me this weekend. I'm taking 6 teenagers to the Key Club convention in Orlando at the Rosen Shingle Creek. I do this every year. This is my 7th or 8th year. But it's 1,000 kids all in one hotel, learning a lot of leadership things about Key Club and community service and public service, and they have their elections and everything. But it is loud. It is loud. Yes, earplugs. And the other thing I'd like us to do is look at the camera and say hi to Joe Gillespie. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
We miss Joe not being here, and I know he watches it. I saw his wife the other day, and he says he's progressing very nicely. But I thought we should do a shout out to Joe tonight. That's it.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, just real quick, again, I want to thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, for sitting in for me the other day, and it was nice having you there that we can continue with having somebody representatives for the kids at the library, and I know how much it means to them, how much it means to the city, and it is a fun thing, but it's sometimes those little ones is like crowd. What is that thing? Herding cats or something?
Herding cats, yes.
Yeah. And get them all there, because some of those little ones, you say, it's all done by age groups, and as soon as you give that first age group permission to go, everybody comes out at one time, and then you got to get them all back, and
I made it through 2, and then I just gave up and let them all come.
Yeah, that's probably what I should do the first time. That's why you're much better at it than I am. But well, that same thing is trying to hurt our traffic signals, so people out there that night, and they're coming up the rear like that. But you got the biggest applause. You know, they took up. I guess you came close to last, right?
584.
Oh, very good.
Something like that.
Oh,
so
that's
we were
good.
Dead last.
Our tutus caused the wind to give resistance, and that's what
That outfit, I can understand.
Sounds
that.
good, Roseanne.
Yeah, it was good excuse, right?
For those of you who don't know, they each had a yellow, a green, or a red wig on and a matching tutu, and they walked the event.
Among other matching clothes items.
Yes. Yeah, they had more than tutu on.
Okay, just a couple of real quick comments I'd like to make is we had a gentleman up here earlier about the our bid process and as far as doing business internally, and I just kind of sympathize with a little bit as being one of my old hats I used to wear was a purchasing manager, and for a couple different school districts, and understand what he's talking about, and so I don't know what our procedures are here, but I would encourage our bidding, when we do bidding and we do our quotes and everything, that we have a list of our, either through the Yellow Pages or whatever, all of our locals, starting with the city of Mount Dora, go to the other communities and Lake County before you even go out to any place beyond Lake County. And so if we can just make sure that they either get a letter that something's coming out, or however we work it, I'm not involved in that, but whatever we can do to help out our local businesses is be extremely important and worthwhile for the city, that's for sure. Dogwood Mountain, and I'm going to ask Mark to come up here in a second, but before that, I'd tried to make contact with Mr. DeSantis' office, which I was successful, and with his Washington office, and the last comment from them was, we'll have somebody get back to you, and they haven't got back to me yet, so, but I will be here all day Thursday, and I will attempt to, I'll be here a little bit tomorrow too, but I'm going to wait for Thursday, and I'm going to attempt to make contact with him while he's still, I think they're on their break yet, and I think they're still on break right now, so we'll see if we can get him, because we're trying to get his office to help out with the Dogwood Mountain, but right now we use a portion of my time here to allow Mr. Oskowski to, did I pronounce that name right?
Rudowski.
Rudowski, sorry.
Rudowski.
And give us a quick update on the Dogwood Mountain.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, City Council. For the record, I am Mark Rudowski, Public Works Director, and I'll just be very brief here on this update of Dogwood Mountain Reserve. We have moved Mrs. Andrews to her temporary residence. We got her out last week. We will erect a fence across Magnolia Ending to keep sightseers out of that area. It's going to remain up during the time of the construction so that it just keeps people safe. Pegasus Engineering is updating plans for the restoration of the embankment and the roadway. Even as we speak, you approved that last time we had this meeting. And then in the meantime, while those plans are being worked on, GSI may commence with the construction of the wall. We've requested expedited permits for construction from St. John's River Water Management District. So the last, we're still waiting to hear from that. We're asking them to expedite that. Last week we received some correspondence from FEMA regarding use of government services contracts, GSAs, for piggyback agreements. And what I will say about that is it was a lot of ifs, buts, and therefores, but it looks promising, and Ms. Cockcroft is reviewing that and giving us guidance on that. It may simply be a matter of how we word the resolution and or the contract. So that's what we're looking into to see, make sure that we do that. We are awaiting, at this time, we're awaiting word from St. John's, at which point we can begin to move forward with construction as soon as possible. And then, just so you'll know, we will bring a resolution to council, really, which is a revised and expanded resolution for stabilization of the embankment, which is that engineered wall. That will be in your packet for the next council meeting.
Great, thank you. Okay, real quick, I'll just let any council member have any questions for Mark here while he's here.
Not a question, but I'm very proud of the work that our city staff and our city council and the patience and support of the residents of that area. And despite what one might read in a newspaper, I think we're doing right by the people and taking all the necessary steps. And thanks for your work on this.
Thank you. I'd like to echo that, if I might. I think it's important that at least this council member believes, that this council member believes that what the city has done, from our manager to you, Mr. Radowski, and everybody else, is the right thing in this case, regardless of the public, editorialist's comments. It was the right thing to do, and the alternative was one that I would not have supported. So I was very proud of the city.
So no, and I'll just kind of finish out my comments, and again, just to kind of echo what the rest of the council said, and on behalf of the city, and I think our staff did a commendable job and is doing a commendable job at Dogwood Mountain, and we need to get our federal government a little bit behind us also, which we're still attempting to do that. As far as the in that article, I think what Ms. Oaks, you maybe can add a little something to this also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a few years ago when there was that issue at Dogwood Mountain when they had the stormwater collapse, and the city stepped up to make sure that was a quick fix, and her article went on to say that we charged the people $10,275 a family or for a house, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but we saved them 10,000 something because the city went in halves on that. I think we split the cost of that repair, if I'm not mistaken, with the homeowners.
Yes, sir. We split the cost of that. The issue that we dealt with there was that was partly a privately owned stormwater system and partly a publicly owned. So the parts of the right-of-way belong to the city. The parts off the right-of-way belong to the Dogwood Mountain owners. And so they needed help, and what we did was the city came forward and actually contracted the work so that it was done in one project. They did not have to pay. They had to pay for their portion of it because they own that portion of it. But what we did it in such a way so that they were not stuck with a collapsing system.
Right.
And also, if you keep in mind right now, the spillage or the stormwater pond that may have been the root of some of our problems is actually not city-owned stormwater pond. So that's the HOA or that division's pond. So that wasn't mentioned either. So there will need to be some improvements there, and we'll work with them to help guide them. But we don't own that. So the city takes
You know, we're very cautious. We do not go on private property and make adjustments or changes. And we try to stay within the right of way and so forth. So, but we will reach out to them and work with them as we get to that process.
Just wanted to make those points that put them on record, and so we have all the facts and as much as we can present out there. So thank you all for your comments on that issue also. And with that, I have motion for adjournment. Everybody, thank you all.